when there's no room in hell, the dead will walk the earth. Oh my God, there's one right there, Lydia. Oh my God, that's That's scarier than anything I've ever seen.
All I
Welcome
needed
to
was
Scream
some
Bloody
white paint on my
Movies.
face.
Yeah, you'd be good. Welcome to Scream Bloody Movies, the podcast where we review a horror movie each week, go over the horror news, and get into the zombie vibes. How you guys doing tonight?
Doing good.
Ready to take on a gargantuan classic tonight? Because that's what we're doing here. We're taking on a classic. But before we dive into all of this, there's so much to talk about with George Romero's Dawn of the Dead. So much. Not only the filmmaking techniques, but in the story, but the subtext of the story and the creation of this movie. There's so many stories out there about this thing. The different edits, the different musics, the different endings. This thing is a bona fide classic. So this is one of those rare ones that we get to talk about, like Halloween and Nightmare on Elm Street and Scream, the Exorcist. This is one of those. This is a movie that pretty much redefined a genre. Night of the Living Dead created the genre, and it's defined it. So, but before we get into all of that, guys, we got to get into some horror news because I've got a good batch, and I'm excited to have you guys check some of these out. Let's start with this. I think we kind of talked about it. I forgot though, but do you remember they're making a new Silent Night, Deadly Night? Do you guys remember that? Did we ever talk about this?
I'm not sure. I don't remember.
I don't know.
I'm hearing about it, I feel like, but we've got a Silent Night, Deadly Night reboot coming, and it is slashing its way into theaters in late 2025. So late this year, it's coming out. It's from director Mike P. Nelson, who did the remake of Wrong Turn and VHS 85. All we really know about it is blending psychological horror, brutal slasher thrills, and a touch of the supernatural, and shockingly a sprinkle of romance. The new film hopes to deliver a modern new take on the ultimate holiday nightmare.
Nice.
I don't know what you're talking about supernatural with Silent Night, Deadly Night, but hey, let's give it a shot.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like... See, Silent Night, Deadly Night is a perfect movie to remake because it's not great, right?
Right.
It's a good idea.
It's a good idea. Yeah. It was intense, too, if I remember correctly.
There are parts of it that were in like the store and stuff, and then remember they gun him down in front of the kids at the end. We haven't done the sequel yet, which is fucking terrible. So we'll get into that one eventually. Lydia, this news is specifically for you. The Creep tapes have been picked up for season 2 on Shudder.
No, we don't want that. We don't want that.
We do. No. We need more and more.
No. Bad.
We have to do that movie. We haven't got there yet. And it has a sequel that you've never seen, have you?
I think I could probably just give you a rating.
10 because it terrified you? It psychologically scarred you? You've not seen Creep yet, have you, Derek? Besides the mirror?
Motherfucker!
God! It almost slid under the radar. You almost didn't catch it.
Oh, I caught it.
So that's good news. I really like Mark Duplass, so I'm glad he's getting work.
I'm glad you like him.
He's a good actor. He's good stuff. Speaking of actors that I like, guys, we're getting a new supernatural horror film starring Adam Scott called Hokum. From Damian McCarthy, who directed the movie Oddity. In it, it's a supernatural horror film. Scott plays a horror novelist who visits a remote Irish inn to spread his parents' ashes, unaware the place is rumored to be haunted by a witch. Oh, that sounds good, right?
It does sound good. I think I might have seen the trailer for it or heard about it. Can't remember, but yeah, high hopes for that one.
Yeah. What do you think, Derek? Yeah, it hasn't went into production yet. It starts production this month in Ireland.
Sounds fun.
I love Adam Scott, right? He's great.
Yeah,
We need to shoot a movie in Ireland.
Yeah, we will. That'll be our vacation. We'll shoot it in Ireland.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I just actually watched an interview with Adam Scott on the Happy Sad Confused podcast today.
Nice.
Great stuff. This won't be his first horror movie because he also was in Krampus.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, guys, we got a little bit of Black Phone 2 news. Scott Dickerson is calling it a high school coming of age movie.
Interesting.
Yeah, so he says, here's his full quote, according to Bloody Disgusting, is, I realized that if I made a big movie after Black Phone, which was The Gorge, by the time I finished it, all those kids would be in high school. So what I really wanted to do, and what I did, was I shot a high school coming of age movie in the same way that the first one was a middle school coming of age story.
Nice.
Interesting. I'm still interested in how they're going to work this plot, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we all were fans of the first one. We liked it a lot.
Oh, yeah. No, it was well done.
Mm-hmm.
I, too, am like, but when kids sees ghosts, maybe that guy comes back and haunts them or possesses somebody or helps them find a new killer.
Right. Yeah, like just a completely new killer, possibly.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that the grabber maybe has to, yeah.
Or a copycat.
Copycat, yeah, something like that.
Tone.
So, guys, this is some wild news. Ke Huy Quan, who plays, of course, Short Round and in The Goonies, Everything All at Once, has a new movie coming out this week with Love Hurts. He is starring in a new horror film told from a dog's perspective. It's called Bad Boy.
Oh.
Here's a synopsis. Gary is a good boy who loves his owner, Cameron, played by Key. He gets treats and belly rubs, and life is great. Gary isn't allowed in the basement, though. And even if he was, he can't unlock the doors. But there's a girl in the basement, and she can't come out to play. Gary doesn't know it, but he's her only chance.
Oh my gosh.
That's pretty fucking cool, right?
I'm in.
Yeah.
That sounds intense. Oh my gosh. I love dogs so much.
Well, yeah. Of course. This would be really cool. Yeah. So the director, Jacob Chase, says the Travis Braun script, he said, I love dogs more than people. And I'm tired of seeing horror movies where the dog is just the first one to die. They're not just pets. They're our best friends. And I believe it's time for a horror film where the dog is the hero.
Yes, dude.
Bad Boy is about loyalty, instinct, and the incredible bond between humans and dogs. That sounds like a lot of fun.
That sounds incredible. Like, what a good idea.
Yeah. Great idea. Let's see. Fede Alvarez is, after the big success of the newest Alien Romulus, and he's working on the sequel. He said what's next beyond the Alien franchise is that he would love to do a good old slasher.
Nice.
Feel you, Fede. You know what? I'm always in the mood for a good old slasher, Fede Alvarez.
Yeah, no kidding.
What's my next film after this one? Probably a slasher. Or definitely in the horror genre. He tells Collider that he wouldn't go for an IP necessarily, but part of him wants to sort of do like a very old school 80s slasher. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds great. Fede Alvarez is amazing filmmaker. So I would love to see that. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love, he's great. I just want to see. I'm like, ready. Let's go. Do it.
Let's do it. Do it. You need somebody to write it. I'll write it for you. And then, guys, I've got to share this right here. So they are releasing in Vice Press Home Video is doing a run of John Carpenter's They Live on VHS. But I've got to I looked it up, and I've got to share this with you so you can see it because it looks freaking amazing. Look at these VHS pressings. Right?
Nice. The plastic.
Yep, the clamshell case.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. I miss those old cases, man.
Yeah, they're great.
You know what
so
I mean?
This is one version, and look how cool the it has Roddy on it.
Nice.
But guys, this one might be even cooler. Look at this one here.
Oh my gosh. Dude.
How
pretty cool.
Incredible is that, you guys?
Is
the tape
it
will
like...
say obey, submit, consume, stay asleep.
So it's like you just get one of them?
Yes. You
don't
whichever
know which one you're gonna get?
Exactly. There
That
is a
really
full
cool.
bet option, so you can get all of them. And there's only 500 of these, but they're $40 a piece. But tell me that's not incredible.
That is really incredible.
I love this. I'm like in love with this. I was like, I saw the clamshell case and I was like, oh man, that looks great. Ooh, I love that. And then I saw that one and I was like, oh my God, I definitely need that on my shelf with the other VHSs that Lydia finds for me.
Yes. Yes.
And yeah. And lastly, guys, our last bit of horror news flows directly in to tonight's film. The Monroeville Mall, which is where Dawn of the Dead was shot, was just purchased by Walmart. As part of a $34 million deal to reimagine Monroeville Mall into a new retail and commercial destination.
Whoa.
So it's going to be alive. And it's been a popular tourist location for years, but apparently fans are gathering for Living Dead weekends there. And it takes place June 6th to June 8th of this year. Guys, we should maybe make a pilgrimage to
where?
The Monroeville Mall.
Where is this? What state?
The Monroeville Mall, I think, is in Pennsylvania, probably. Yeah, Pennsylvania, because it's Romero, so it's definitely shot in Pennsylvania. Yeah.
Whoa. Okay. Yeah, I feel like that's doable.
Yeah, my wife. I don't know. Well, that sounds awesome. But yeah, we'll see. One day we need to do it.
We'll just take the helicopter.
Yeah. We'll get there really fast. No problem.
Pick you guys up.
We'll have somebody else drive it.
Hey, you don't know what
Jake. We'll have Jake drive it.
Oh, that's the worst idea we could have. And that wraps up the horror news, guys. So let's talk about it. Dawn of the Dead, the sequel to Night of the Living Dead, made pretty much, 10 years later. So tell us, is this the first time either of you have seen Dawn of the Dead?
Mm-hmm. For me, it was.
Oh, this was the first time you've seen this?
No, I think that none of it rang a bell. So
that's wild. Wow. Is this the first time you've seen this, Lydia?
No, I've seen this one before.
Have you seen
Not
it
much,
once,
though.
Twice?
Yeah, probably once or twice, maybe just kind of during the Halloween time when it's just kind of on. So I feel like I knew the beats, but some things I didn't quite remember.
Yeah.
And I've seen the remake so many times.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not that it follows exactly or anything, but
No, it's just a basic premise.
yeah.
Um,
Which the premise
without
itself is just so fun.
Yeah, it's the basic premise minus all of the clever satire and such.
Right. Yeah,
In
exactly.
Soul. But
Yeah, really,
I
honestly,
like the
yeah.
remake. I think it's really good, but I've seen this movie tons of times. Like I said, I watched my Blu-ray of it that I have, and I think I bought that Blu-ray in like 2008, something like that. You know, it was early Blu-ray, maybe 2009. So I've had this movie for almost 20 years, so I've watched it a bunch throughout the years. It's not one I watch every year or anything, but I've, when I get in the mood to watch a good zombie movie, I go for this one and its sequel, which is, I think, my favorite zombie movie, Day of the Dead. Those are the ones I pull. But yeah, so I've seen this movie when I was way too young to watch it, probably 10, and
Were you scared?
yeah, when I was a kid, I was scared. I
Yeah.
mean, it's scary. It's, really intense. There's a lot of intense stuff in the movie.
Yes.
It's, now, some of the makeup effects are dated, especially as makeup techniques grow and such. But what's really still powerful about it is the tension of the scenes, in the claustrophobia, in them being trapped. So as a little kid, yeah, it was scary because I was like, I don't fucking want to get bit by a zombie and turned into an undead ghoul.
Yes.
That's scary. And there's still a couple scenes. We'll get into the scenes that I still think are pretty scary, creepy, and effective in the movie, besides just the overall intensity. Where do you want to start with this? I do want to mention a quick thing. Did you guys notice? So first of all, the opening shot of this movie, I've always loved. I think it's such a beautifully composed shot of her against like the weird red fuzzy wall. It's
Did you hear that?
Yeah, I did.
I think that was like a sneeze cough.
I think it was. But I love that composition of her on the wall, because it's just like kind of otherworldly, and I love the color. I just love the way movies looked in the 70s. They just look so fucking. They look like film, right? They just look beautiful.
I really, really enjoy watching every movie that we've done. I think from the 70s has just been great to watch.
Beautiful. What do you think of that, Derek? The look of the film and that.
Yeah, the look of the film is really great. And this whole like opening sequence is really interesting and racist. not like the, you know what I mean? Obviously, it's big. She's for herself, like the cops going through the building and that one cop. But no, it's really
some social commentary. Yeah,
for sure. And
I love the opening in the newsroom, because we're seeing the chaos and we're kind of getting a feel. It's a really great device to kind of lay down some exposition, because we're getting this exposition in the form of this, this chaotic newsroom that she's in and all this stuff. So we're getting the exposition fed to us like almost by osmosis, right? It's just kind of overwhelming us, and we're picking it up without realizing we're picking up a lot of the exposition. So it's not like we stop and we're like, so this is what's going on. It's like, it's just happening. And if you guys didn't notice, the gentleman, the bearded gentleman that's the director of the news program, that's George Romero himself.
Oh my gosh, of course it is.
Yeah. He plays the news director. Well, I love when he's like yelling at the woman to do something. She's like, "What, do you want me to pull it out of my ass?"
Yeah, I love that too. Dang it, I didn't catch him. I knew I was gonna miss so many of those. I caught the Tom Savini one.
Yeah, well, Tom Savini's a really the Machete's an important character. He comes back in Land of the Dead, actually. But yeah, I love that opening. And then Derek, what you were talking about, the whole like siege on the projects is really good, really intense. There's some really great makeup effects in this scene, really great stuff going on. Derek, this is your first time seeing it. What did you think of this whole thing? You're muted.
Thanks for setting me up. I appreciate it. So, what specifically? What did I think of that
The
opening
siege.
scene?
Yeah, the siege
Yeah, no, the
and
siege
like the
was really it was very intense. And the was it Roger, I think?
yeah.
He and Peter, like in their encounter, and really a lot of this is from like we're piggybacking on Roger and seeing what's going through his mind, and
Yeah.
that would be a crazy situation to be in, like that siege just in and of itself. I mean, that's not even including having zombies as part of that equation.
Yes.
That would
Yeah.
be a nutty thing anyway. And to have somebody on your side who's I don't want to be
Racist and crazy.
racist and nuts, like that's wild. Just wild.
Yeah, it kicks the movie off with such a bang and like
It does.
showing like basically the fall of society pretty much, and just like this kind of dystopian feel of this siege. And I really
one thing that
good. No, you go
one
ahead.
thing that stuck out to me was like in the newsroom specifically, like the lack of urgency from most of the people. Like whenever the guy's like, "Oh, I got a plane or a helicopter," and the lady was like, "Maybe I should stay." And they're like, "No, you should go." Like, obviously you should go. What are you talking about?
I think she's wanting to do her duty, and I mean, because we get that from her from when she's pulls down the locations because they weren't correct anymore, but they want them to keep running because that gets ratings. People are looking for those. So it's like she's trying to do the moral right thing, and she's just stuck in this kind of shit sandwich. On the siege, in the siege scene, the effect where the dude's head gets blown off by a shotgun is fucking wild, dude.
It really is, yeah. That's
Oh,
I can't imagine seeing that at 10 years old. Like that would be really
yeah. So Tom Savini's makeup is incredible in this movie. In the movie, since we're talking about it, also is edited by George Romero. He edited this film himself, and there's just some brilliant editing choices like that. We see the guy for a split second, and then his head's gone.
It's very abrupt,
so intense. And also when they go down and they find in the cellar all of the dead, and they have to shoot them. I love the performances in this movie by everybody. But the actor playing Roger in this scene, Scott Ragner, he's really good in this opening scene of like basically portraying that like just him kind of mentally breaking almost by just this madness around him. What do you guys think?
Yeah, he pulls it off. He makes you feel exactly what, like he's just portraying the emotion that you're just like, oh man, it's like you can't you know what he's feeling for sure.
Yeah.
They all nail it really.
Yeah, and if he hadn't, so there's a scene later in the movie where he like absolutely breaks. Like he snaps. And so, I mean, this is probably those walls getting shattered, because I mean, there's got to be a point where you probably have this sense of hopelessness.
Yes.
That has to set over you.
Definitely.
And I feel like that's kind of where he's at now, because like later in the film when he gets one of the zombies like gets shot on him and he gets blood on his face, he like literally goes crazy.
Yeah, he breaks. Yeah, he mentally breaks it.
Absolutely.
So our four our four main characters, they haul off onto this into the helicopter and stuff. Guys, let's talk about the refueling station scene because I think this scene is so good. It's so good.
Oh my gosh, yeah, with the
With
Frankenstein.
this, yeah.
The
Derek,
Frankenstein zombie.
yeah, this is your first time seeing this. What did you think of the zombie getting the top of his head chopped off by that helicopter?
It's pretty cool. And I don't think it was this movie. Like, there's been a helicopter accident on a movie set before, right?
Yeah, the Twilight
Yeah,
Zone
yeah,
movie.
Yeah. That's just a side
I
note.
think about that
uh,
all the time.
Yeah.
Do you?
So
All the
there
time.
was not real helicopter blades in that scene.
No.
They actually pulled it off with a fishing wire. And
Yeah, I was
rotoed
just
in.
I
Yeah,
it
it's incredible.
made me think of that, but
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
it was really cool.
And when Peter has to gun down the kids, Derek, I know. I knew it. I knew that got you, right?
Fucking broke my heart, man. That would be the hardest thing about an apocalypse.
Oh yeah.
In all honesty, like I could shank a dude. I could, scope somebody. But boy, I'd probably be done in by the kids. Yeah, that's a whole other thing.
That's kind of
The
adorable.
guilt I would carry with me for the rest of my life. Probably super short, but
It's so good too because we hear the noise in the closet and he shoots, and so we're expecting a zombie to pop out, but instead it's two children zombies.
Yeah.
And he throws them off initially a couple times, and he's forced to shoot them. He's just like, "Oh man."
Yeah. I
Right.
think that scene makes
go
me
ahead, buddy.
giggle because how it's shot.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is. It makes you think, but it does make me giggle a little bit.
I love. Good.
I gotta say that's a very brave thing to do. I feel like, and I'm not a zombie movie connoisseur. I don't know if it had been done before that, but like that's a really creative and brave thing to do in a movie like this. To like, because a lot of times you don't really include the kids in movies like this. I feel like that was a really good choice on his behalf to be like, this affected everybody. I'm gonna show you what that looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Know what I mean?
nothing had really been done before this. I mean, Night of the Living Dead, and then this.
Right.
This is rewriting all the rules.
As far as like zombie children, I wonder.
Yeah.
Do you know, Jamie?
The first movie.
The first movie had zombie children.
Yeah, remember she turns the daughter turns and murders
yeah,
the mom
obviously.
in the basement.
Oh,
one of the most iconic scenes ever.
Obviously, yeah. I guess I feel like.
I mean, this is a little different, but yeah.
Yeah,
it does feel different for sure. Yeah, I'm trying to think. What was that movie? No, I don't think. I'm thinking of like a really old movie that I don't know. It's on like the tip of my tongue, but
so the mall location. It was a brilliant idea. It was a brilliant idea to set this movie in a mall because you have like endless possibilities, right? Especially in the mall in 1978. Height of consumerism, and we have all of these stores. So you're like, where would be the best place to survive a zombie apocalypse? Well, a mall, because it has everything you need. So setting it here was such a brilliant idea, right? Just a central great conceit.
I love it. I love it so much. I'm obsessed. I wish I could go in that mall.
So here's the thing.
You can.
Here's the thing. I agree. Like conceptually, that's probably one of the places you'd choose because it not only has food, it has supplies. There's a gun store. There's clothing. There's everything that you could conceivably need. Like it has. So it's a great place. you also like, I'm critiquing it. I'm like, man, like I wouldn't have just parked cars in front of those doors. I would have like, you just are like, oh, you play that game with yourself. What would I do? And that's a lot of this movie was like, you guys are doing it wrong.
Yes, definitely.
Well, I mean, the cars did work. They would work because there's not enough leverage to get through them. It's
For
not till the
zombies.
people come. Yeah,
That's more what because
that's
was
the problem.
It was inevitable that there was a live person.
Other people had the same idea. Yeah, other people had the same idea. And that's the crux of Romero's movies, right? Is the villains are not the zombies.
Yeah,
They're never the zombies. The villains are people. People are the villains. The zombies are just an obstacle and a part of life, and you can easily defeat them. You can walk right by them, run by them. But it's the mistakes that these people make, and the folly of man is why the things happen. That's the kind of social commentary of all of Romero's zombie movies, really.
yeah.
But I love the location. I love this mall in particular. Was like a beautiful location for this. I love the way it's lit. I love the way it's shot. It just looks like it would be a lot of fun to be there and shooting it, right? Like,
Oh, definitely. Definitely. How did they do all that? I don't know how they did it.
so I think they had the mall after hours, and they
Yeah,
would shoot after hours,
which would be so
I
fun.
believe. Yeah, so they had the mall from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m.
Wow.
Um,
Oh gosh.
It started November 13th, 1977. And then their filming was shut down for the last 3 weeks of the year due to continuity difficulties because of the Christmas season. And then it picked up again in January 3rd, 1978. So basically, they would go in after the mall closed and just shoot the hell out of it. And I
Literally.
really love the fact that all the shit they do in this mall, like driving cars through it, and gunfire and fire, and like they do a lot of shit in this mall. It's kind of incredible.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, especially when it gets rated, like all the stunts that they're doing, and
all the
like they
stunts
do
in
not.
the raid is
They don't hold back at all.
they're not fucking around. Yeah, they're doing the whole deal. It's crazy. So like I love the bit, I love them like trying to decide what they're going to do, setting up their, I love those planning stages of these kind of movies. And I love their initial run of like when they do their first supply run. That's so great. I love like the
Yes.
chemistry between Peter and Roger. I think they're a lot of fun together.
Yeah.
Roger's kind of like a cowboy, and like Peter's like the stern, like the stoic, like man's
Yeah.
man. And then Flyboy is a meek man trying to be like them, and he's not. And then Fran's just smoking cigarettes while she's pregnant.
Yep. Pretty much.
70s, baby.
Yeah.
No, Franny's
Jake-
great. Her character grows a lot over the course of the film.
Yeah. I liked her. Yeah, I liked all these characters. That's definitely the plus to this movie, is they're like they're all like pretty likable humans.
Yeah, you
But-
root for him. You want to root for him. Yeah,
Yes. Even
there's
though
not
they're
like a D-bag of them.
yeah.
There's not within the group. There's not one that is out to sabotage the others or to try to get a leg up or
Mhm.
manipulate a situation. There's one scene which would be a very interesting dilemma to have if you are in Fran's position. So she's pregnant, and I think Peter asks them, she and Steven, if she's going to keep it, because
Mhm.
in a situation like this, like that's going to be one of the toughest things to do. So that was it was an interesting choice to have made. Or I mean, it worked really well. It adds to the stakes of
Yeah.
everything. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's great writing.
It's like
Yeah,
I
it
can't
adds
imagine
texture.
like being
Yeah.
in that situation, in that scenario, like where you're like the world is literally like ending and you're pregnant. It's like, oh no,
Yeah.
that's the scary thing.
Yeah, and it put and what I love about Fran is when she just decides to stand up for herself, and she's like, "You're not gonna leave me alone without a gun. I'm
Mhm.
not a den mother. You're gonna tell me the plans. I'm gonna have a say in the plans, and you're gonna teach me how to use this gun, and you're also gonna teach us how to fly this helicopter." And you're like, "Damn, Fran, all right, I'm in."
Yes. And our what's the main character's name?
Peter.
Steven?
What is it?
Who's
So
the main character?
Peter is Ken Forey. Peter is Ken Forey, the African American guy, and then Steven is her husband.
Okay, Peter and Steven. I think I got those two names mixed up.
Yeah.
So Peter is just so cool. He's such a cool dude.
Oh yeah, he's the coolest, man.
He really is the coolest out of all of them because he's the one that's like kind of, you know, seems like the most logical. Like he's like, you know, he's like, ask her what she wants to do, not like we're gonna do this and we're gonna, you know, he's like giving her a choice in the matter. And when she stands up for herself, he's the first one to be like, sounds fair, good.
Yep.
Good for me. Let's go.
Yep.
Let's fly this helicopter. Let's learn. Let's do as much as we can.
I love when he says because you know Steven's like kind of like pissed off about it a little bit.
Yeah.
When she's like, and I need a gun, and he goes, and Steven has to leave his gun. I just love that. I love how Peter kind of is like, give her the gun.
Yep.
Like, all right.
You know,
he's the least qualified.
Yes. Yeah, he's a terrible shot.
Well, and their best mode of transportation is that helicopter. And your biggest crux in that situation is only one person knows how to fly it. So the wisest thing would be to teach somebody else in case you get trapped in an elevator and get eaten. Just saying could happen. So anyway, if you're ever in a zombie apocalypse and you happen to know a pilot, just learn that skill real quick.
Just like Fran said to do. So listen to her. Follow her lead.
Mm-hmm.
So
she knows where it's at.
She does. So when when Roger gets bit, that whole scene is so intense. We have a bunch of close calls. We have a bunch of mayhem going on. When her brains get splattered all over his face, like you mentioned earlier, Derek, that's when he breaks. He like psychologically breaks. You see it, and then he's just like erratic. He's not his cool self that he is throughout the rest of the movie. He like he breaks in that moment and starts making some sloppy mistakes. And that's when he gets bit in the arm.
That is an understatement. What do you mean sloppy mistakes, man? He like is so cavalier and his like, I'm gonna run around and do whatever I want to do. I'm like, yeah, what are you doing, man? Get some duct tape, put some like magazines on your forearms so you've got a shield. Like he's just like, I'm gonna run around these guys. It gets him.
Well, also what's important to note is the rules aren't known. They don't know that if you get bit,
100%
you
correct.
Turn.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's not like a hard and fast, like, oh, I got bit, now I got to die thing. It's like, you just don't want to get eaten. You don't want to die. So you're not really thinking about that sort of stuff yet,
Yet. Yeah.
For sure.
And so I like that this is kind of setting those rules. And it's not like a supernatural, you get bit, you turn into a zombie. It's more, you get infected. It's an infection.
Yeah.
Well, and they don't necessarily, like, he very well could have just, because he got bit on the leg, he got bit on the arm, he got the leg re-injured. Like, I don't think it explicitly implied necessarily that a bite is completely deadly, unless I missed that.
Well,
more,
Peter says it
to infections.
Peter said it. He said that he's seen people get bit before and they don't last more than 3 days.
That's that part then.
Yeah, so it's like,
which also could be due to infection. that
Well,
kills
that's
you.
what it is. Yeah, it's the infection. It's the disease that they carry. So it's not necessarily that like a vampire bite, you turn into a vampire. Vampire kind of
Yeah.
thing. It's like, oh, you get infected and you die, kind of thing. But
Mhm.
obviously, the zombie rules are if you get bit by a zombie, you're going to die and turn into a zombie.
Mhm.
Them's the breaks. But guys, I love the scene. Before we get into the more stuff, I love the scene. Oh, the whole bit where they're just when they have the mall to themselves and they start just playing around.
Yes.
I love this scene so much when they're like
I
going to the
could watch
arcade.
this forever.
Yeah,
They raid the bank because you never know.
dude, that's my favorite. That has some of my favorite jokes, and I love them taking holding it up at the camera, getting the picture. And what I really love is that they walk through the ropes instead of just walking up to the thing and they're whistling. They just walk through the ropes.
Like you're having
Very
a good
funny.
day if you don't have to wait in
Yeah.
that line.
Yeah, they're just you never know. I love all that stuff, and I love like I said, the car bit. I love that they drive it up to the door and you just see it flying, crushing zombies, and then
Man, that's so risky.
yeah,
I kept thinking, you're like, man, does that thing have gas? Is it a prop car? Can it drive? These,
well,
this is just my own mental notes I'm taking of this movie. That's not a critique on the movie because obviously it is what it is. I'm just like, man, I don't know if I would send everybody out there.
well, I don't
in
think
the hopes that this car might start.
Yeah, I love I love all that stuff. It's so fun. And then when Roger dies, so first Roger talking to Peter is heartbreaking, telling him, hey, I don't want to be walking around. So you need to do what you need to do. Pretty much, he's like, I'm going to try not to come back because he knows he's going to die. And the fact that Peter has to sit there and keep watch over him. And when they alluded earlier, scene that I still think is effective and scary is when when Roger reanimates. I think it's really scary. I think that's the scariest makeup in the movie, just because of the way he plays it, and it's like this kind of like he's sad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When he pops up and he has that face and he kind of looks down like that, I was like, I always kind of chills. I'm like, oh, that would be so fucking terrifying. You're sitting there and you watch your friend just turn into this thing. What do you guys think of this bit?
It's really sad, really scary. It's just because you just see like the sheets kind of moving and you see Peter just like, oh, wait, is it Peter? Yeah. And you see him like just start to notice and you're just like, oh no, it's happening. It's just dreadful.
Yeah.
Do you think
now it's down to 3 of them?
Yeah.
Do you think this is where Peter? Because Peter seems kind of like he alludes that he's over it, like at the end of this movie, and then he like determines he doesn't want to die. But like, do you think this is the part that really put him to that edge, not pushed him over, but like brought it to him? He's just like,
I think so. I think that it's just the hopelessness of the whole situation once the biker gang arrives and stuff.
Yeah.
But I think, seeing this, I mean, it has to. Plus all the shit he's seen before. He was at that raid. He saw all that fucking crazy shit. He put down the racist and just all of that, And then plus now this guy that he's bonded with and became friends with, and
he's buried there.
And and he has to put him down and then bury him in the faux garden and shit. It's just like,
in the atrium.
Yeah.
What kind of mall has an atrium?
This one does. It has everything, and that's the thing. It really has these things.
Yeah.
This mall was just crazy.
Freaking ice skating rink.
It had an ice skating rink. Yeah, dude, that's just like an ice. This mall was incredible.
I have to say though, I would not be ice skating. Yeah, I would not be ice skating though, because I mean, you break an ankle and you're done.
You're in trouble. Yeah. I love when they go out to dinner and stuff, and like trying to live like
that was kind of like where it started to turn a little bit right there at the
Yes.
dinner.
Yes.
It's such a sweet idea. Like,
Yeah.
such a sweet, what a good friend that guy is to do that for
Yeah.
them. And then she kind of blows it, honestly, I have to say. Like, he's like doing everything he can to just like be happy, and she like shuts him down and is like, there's no happiness ever here.
She is going through a lot. She is pregnant. She did
Yeah.
watch Roger wither away to nothing as she's trying to nurse him to health. She hears on the TV that basically the world's ending. I mean, I get it.
I get it too. I totally get it. I totally get it. I mean, you could tell she just gets crankier and crankier too, and you're just like, oh, this poor woman.
Yeah, she's going through it because we
Yeah.
see her start to like throw up and stuff like that. So let's talk about the raid. Derek, what did you think of? I mean, like you'd never seen this movie, so did you see this coming? And what did you think of this whole thing?
You want to know how I knew that this part was definitely going to happen?
How's that?
When they broadcast to the entire world that they were there by turning on all the lights and the music in the entire building. I'm like, what are you doing? You're inviting somebody to come and like take your turf. I mean, yeah, it was inevitable. Honestly, their biggest mistake was that as they were approaching, they had a scope rifle. They should have started that fight outside.
Yeah.
But them waiting until they came in, and I mean, Peter didn't want to engage. He was more or less like, hey, let them come and raid and take whatever. There's plenty. They're not going to take everything. And then what's his face was just like, we took it. It's ours.
Yeah.
Yes.
Dang it.
He
It's
turns
so
a little.
frustrating.
He turns a little. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, and you know,
They could have just hid out and been fine.
Well, especially in their false wall, they'd have been perfectly fine. You know.
They had all the survival boxes.
Yep.
Well, and those people knew that they were there because they had scoped it out. So they didn't know where they were, but they knew that they were in there. So, but yeah, you're right. That false wall was a great idea until fucking dead Steven decides he's gonna remember where to go.
Right.
Yeah.
I love when he's dead and he's still carrying his gun and he's like,
That's one of the most iconic. That's one of the most iconic scenes in this movie. It's such a great performance.
Yeah, he
looks
looks great.
Performance. He looks great, and the way he's walking, the way that gun's just kind of dangling, is so cool. It's such a freaking awesome performance. That's David MG, by the way, and Galen Ross plays Francine. We haven't mentioned their names yet, but that's one of my favorites. So Tom Savini, like we talked about, plays the leader of this gang, Machete, and he's great. He's a lot of fun. But yeah, this stuff gets wild. This is where we get all those crazy stunts. We get some really cool kills. What do you guys think of this whole raid scene?
It makes me so mad.
Well, from a character standpoint, but from a viewing standpoint, it's pretty amazing.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I love seeing Tom Savini's face so much. I was smiling as soon as I saw it was him. I was like, oh yeah, here we go. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
But if it wasn't for that, I would be extremely upset. Like I would probably feel more how Steven was feeling.
Yeah.
Of just like, this is our mall.
This is ours.
They're wrecking it. And they had made like a home there, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. They built a little life. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Derek,
you just have to push through.
Just have to push through. This
Tried
ending.
to call me on it again, you son of a bitch.
I really didn't do it on that for real. I was just asking you about this ending.
I know your games.
What do you guys think of this ending? The ending of the movie? Because it makes you, it leads you one way and then it U-turns on us.
It felt very natural. I will say that because you can definitely sympathize with Peter and where he's at. And that is a fight, because that's a fight. You're going to relive this exact scenario the rest of your life.
Yeah.
You're always going to be trying to find resources. You're always going to have people trying to get the resources from you. And in all of that, you're going to have this, these dead people who are never going to run out of food until the food supply completely dies. So he's at the end. I totally sympathize with him. But then he finds it, man.
Finds it
Great
within.
moment.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is.
And then he just barely makes it.
Barely makes
Yeah.
it. So what do you think, Lydia?
One of the things that really frustrates me about this scene, about, we're talking about like the decisions people make are kind of like really important.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that really bugs me is that he let Steven get into the room to shoot him in front of her. Like, I'm like, why didn't you stand in the stairwell and start unloading on all of them before they even got up there?
I agree.
I will tell you
That just
why.
bothers me.
Because it's not as dramatically satisfying.
Well,
Well, I mean,
from a filmmaking standpoint, that's why he's up there. That's why he lets him get up.
that's just annoying, though. I'm just like, let's just traumatize her. Like, you could have saved her that trauma. You should know better.
So yeah, I love the ending of this movie too, for the same reason. Like, because it gives you this, you're buckled in for just despair. Essentially, you're buckled in for despair, and then he's like, "Fuck that." We get the triumphant music. He goes, and then he and Fran fly off into the great unknown. What our mind decides what happens next. Where are they? What do they do? So famously, this film had a couple different endings. One ending that was never shot, but was basically scripted, was this. So in the original ending, in the original screenplay, Peter and Francine were to kill themselves. Peter shoots himself, and then Fran was supposed to stick her head into the motorcycle blades, or into the helicopter blades.
What?
Yeah. And then what we're supposed to see is so what we were supposed to see, this was in the original script phase before they didn't shoot any of this, but this is what was scripted before they decided to change it during production. So Peter was supposed to shoot himself, and then Franny was going to go to the helicopter, decided it's not worth it, stick her head into the helicopter blades, right? And then, there's a reason that doesn't happen. There's a reason that the helicopter zombie exists, because they designed this effect. But she was going to do that, and then we're going to stay on the helicopter blades for the credits, and the helicopter was going to stop, showing that they didn't have enough gas to make it anyway. So that was going to be the original super bleak fucking ending that was written.
Well, thank God they didn't do that.
Yeah. But then it was changed. So basically, the lead up is the same. But instead, so when he puts the gun to his head, that's when he decided to be like, you know what? No. And they rewrote the ending to what they did, to have them escape and just have an ambiguous ending. They're alive. They're off somewhere. But that's why the zombie one was created, because they were originally going to do that, to have that ending for Franny, which would have been horribly bleak. I think they picked the right ending, right?
Yeah. When he was having, thoughts of shooting himself, I was like, he better not, dude. I'm gonna be so mad. I would have been furious with this ending if he would have killed himself.
Yeah, it would have been an awful ending. Yeah, it would have been awful.
Yeah.
Luckily he doesn't, and we, get the ending we do, which I think is a great ending.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's kind of, I think the reason he wrote it the way he did originally is because it kind of mirrors the ending of Night, right?
Mm-hmm.
Night ends with, our main character making it through the night and then just getting gunned down, so none of them survive the night.
Yeah.
But I think as they were going through production before they were shooting, they kind of realized, wait, you know what? I really like these characters. Let's give them some kind of a, hopeful ending. So let's see what happens. So apparently Romero has stated the original ending was scrapped before being shot. So it was at least tested. So the head appliance made for Francine's was used in the opening SWAT raid, made to resemble. So it's used for the African American male that gets his head blown off. That was originally the head that was tested for Francine.
Dang, I wonder how they did that.
Dude, it's crazy how they did. They blew it up. They just had it on an explosive, and they just blew up the fake head. But the way they shot it makes it look like he shoots it off, so it just is so good.
Yeah.
Actually, there's some frames of it right here. I'll show with you real fast.
I guess I meant like the.
Look at this.
Yeah. That's pretty fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. And then here's the machete. Obviously, that's a carved out machete.
Yeah.
And they reverse it. So you hold it to, and then you pull it back, and then they reverse the film. So it snaps into it. Good stuff.
Crazy.
Good fucking stuff. Filmmaking to the end. So I guess I'm sorry. Yeah, that was right. So this also famously has a couple of re-edits that has different music, right? So in the theatrical version, musical cues were chosen from the music library, which was stock music. But when it went international, that's where we got the Goblin soundtrack that we kind of have now, right? Because Argento did the international cut, and that's how we get the Goblin soundtrack. Which I love the music to this movie. Really, I think it's fun.
Except for that last song.
The triumphant song is a little cheesy, yes, but
yeah, I love the mall music.
Yeah. And
it's just very I don't know, it's so weird, it's so strange. It's such a different vibe of any other zombie movie for sure.
They have like that sound when they're at the feeling station. They do that like, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And I'm like, it makes me feel spooky vibes, like it's Halloween time. But yeah, product of the 70s. What are you gonna do? They also wore bell bottoms in this time, guys. What do we know?
I love it.
8-track tapes, man.
8-track tapes. And that is Dawn of the Dead. So what do you guys think?
It's a great movie.
It's a banger.
It really is.
So I'll go first. I feel better about this movie having chatted with you guys. So here's my biggest critique about this movie is it's super long.
It's a little long,
like
yeah.
2 hours and 7 minutes.
Yeah.
And there's like a lot of that, like the mall scene, I feel like you probably could clean up. Still get the same point across, but tighten it. And I mean, the things you can't hold against this movie is, and also it would have blown their budget. Like if they would have had every zombie look like a zombie, but just like painting people's faces white and have them walk around like.
Well, they're gray. They're
grayscale.
They're kind of grayish, yeah.
Gray, yeah. But more or less, it's just like a powder or paint or whatever it is.
Powder. Yeah.
The movie has got some really great ideas, obviously. It did really well with the box office. I'm sure when this movie came out, it was like, what in the world? Jamie, you're kind of a film historian. What kind of pushback did like from the conservative folks? Did they get a lot of pushback for this movie?
I don't know exactly that. What I do know is this movie was released unrated. I mean, it's an unrated film. And this was in the days when you could release a film unrated and it wouldn't be like a death nail. I mean, you can now on streaming and such, but there was a period where if your movie, like Adam Green's Hatchet 2, for instance, was unrated. It was released unrated because he didn't want to cut it for the R, and theater chains like AMC wouldn't show it. Now they do. All the Terrifiers are unrated, so you can get away with that now. But this was unrated. All of Romero's zombie movies, all the Dead trilogy, the Dead movies up until Land of the Dead are unrated. Because they're just, I mean, this one is not near as gory as Day of the Dead, which is just one of the all-time. I can't wait till we get to Day of the Dead because it has some of the absolute best makeup effects that's ever
too. It's got
ever been on. Yeah, never been put on film. But so I don't know about that. I know that it was unlike anything that anybody had seen prior because it's pretty gory. It's pretty.
Oh, especially the end where they're like pulling out the intestines and
yeah,
like,
it's pretty gory, and especially for the time that it came out, it was like incredibly gory. So it pulled no punches, especially for an American film. Like Italian films were doing this kind of shit, but not like Pittsburgh filmmakers. You know what I mean? They're not fucking doing this.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, continue with your assessment, Derek.
I mean, that's pretty much what I got. This movie is rated a 7.8 on IMDb. I mean, you guys are not going to agree. I'm going to go with a 6.5.
You're fucking wild, dude.
Yeah.
6.5 for one of the greatest zombie films ever made. He's like, I want to watch all the other ones.
He's like, I want to watch Leprechaun.
Leprechaun 5 in space.
Derek, I'm just going to say, I'm going to
low.
give this movie a 10. I think this movie is fantastic. I think it's so perfect. And for no other reason than Romero. That's all I need to say. It's Romero. 10.
Yeah, it's Romero at the height of his powers. It's a 10. It's a 10. It's one of the
going with 10s.
Yeah, it's one of the greatest zombie movies ever made. One of the best horror films ever made.
It could be like 3 hours longer of just them walking through the mall, and I would be completely happy.
Sorry, it doesn't reach the standards of Lumberjack Man, but
well, it's hard to reach those heights.
A 6, Derek.
That's wild.
Oh, I didn't get a 6. I gave it a 6.5.
Derek, I feel like we gave if you go through our 6.5s.
Yeah, there's a way shittier.
That's all right. If you didn't
6.5.
like it, you didn't like it. But
yeah,
this is a great movie, Derek.
Yeah.
I believe it.
Yeah.
You need to rewatch. Yeah. Was it in black and white for you?
Lydia, I'm not even going to respond to that with a...
Were you working the whole time? Were you just working the whole time? That's why you didn't like it?
No, I wasn't working. I actually sat down and watched it. I found it on YouTube, by the way. I don't know where you guys found it.
We're going to cut that out. But
why?
Because you probably watch a shitty version of it then, too.
Yeah, you probably did.
No, it had the nude scene.
Which isn't saying much.
I meant the picture quality, Derek.
Yeah. Derek.
Oh no, it was in. I don't remember what it was, but it was fine.
It's good. The nude scene.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, it wasn't censored. It wasn't cut.
For a nude scene, it was the most depressing scene of the whole movie.
Really, that is true.
That's why Derek gave it a 6.5 and didn't pop wood when he saw her naked. Zero stars for the boobs.
That's not why, Lydia, just so you know.
No, I know. It's fine. It's whatever. You don't get it. You don't get it.
He has a hard time understanding good cinema. It happens from time to time.
I mean, there's some critiques there.
So yeah, Dawn of the Dead. Lydia and I say check it out. Derek says watch Leprechaun 5 in space. instead. I mean, it's
I'm pretty
6.5.
sure I
is fine.
own the
I
Leprechaun
would have gave it
5.
I thought you would have at least given it a 7. I mean, it's worthy
Yeah.
of a 7.
At least.
At least, yes.
Says IMDb.
Yeah. So it's time to Atkinize this movie. Who would Tom Atkins play in this?
Ooh.
There's not a lot of characters. There's literally 4.
I know. I'm trying to imagine him in each role.
Man, I would make him. He's cool enough to be Peter for sure, but I would make him
Yeah.
Steven.
Oh yeah, that would be good. He would definitely get the ladies pregnant in this scenario.
He would get the ladies pregnant. He would be a great fucking Peter though too.
He would.
I know, but I
yeah.
don't want to replace Peter because
Yeah, he's really good.
Peter's awesome.
Well, he'd be a good Roger too, actually.
I was gonna say like he really could.
Roger, but you know, if there's an expendable person, Roger's that person. Although apparently Steven was too. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Well, I'd put him as Roger. That'd be kind of fun to see him be like a badass shot and really fun and cool until he dies. That'd be cool. No, I wouldn't replace Ken Foree as Peter either. I think he's great in this.
Mm-hmm.
He's like the coolest guy.
Did we just watch something with him?
I don't know. With Ken Foree? I don't know. I know that we're gonna watch something with him eventually. He's in.
He was Big Joe Grizzly in Halloween.
We haven't done that yet.
Remake.
We haven't done that.
Yeah, I know.
He's gonna be in. He's gonna be in Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw 3. We haven't got to that one yet. I don't know what else he was. If there's any that we watched that he was in.
I just watched something with him in it. I just can't. I haven't looked it up.
Did you watch The Devil's Rejects? He's in that.
Oh yeah. No,
as far as the movies that we watched, I don't see any that we've watched so far. We haven't watched The Dentist yet. He's in that. Yeah, Big Joe Grizzly. If I can get out of here. Rob Zombie's Halloween is a special film as well. Yep. He might have been in a TV show you watched too. He does a lot of
that might have been, yeah.
Television. I mean, did you watch the X-Files recently?
Oh no, but I should. Been kind of thinking about watching it.
He's in an episode of Quantum Leap, Knight Rider, The Flash. Oh my God, Renegade. You remember Renegade, Derek?
Mm-hmm.
Fucking Lorenzo Lamas. Yep. So, guys, next week, it's my pick, and I know what we're watching. So there's no suspense here where I have to think about it.
Okay.
Next week, we are going to watch Joe Dante's classic 1980, I think 1989. Yep, Joe Dante's classic 1989 Tom Hanks starring horror comedy, The Burbs.
What?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
We're probably going to have a special guest.
We will have a special guest next week as well. One of my my coworker friend and one of the financiers of the movie is going to join us to talk about The Burbs because it's his all-time favorite film.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yep. So next week, we will be watching The Burbs. I don't know where The Burbs is streaming. I own it. It is streaming on... Oh, maybe Paramount. Let's see. Because it was streaming on a bunch of stuff at different times. It is currently on Stars, Vudu, Google Play, and YouTube with ads. So you can probably get it for free on YouTube. The Burbs. Great one. Yes, I can't wait to talk about it. There's a lot to talk about with The Burbs as well. Derek is going to preemptively give it 3.75.
Yeah, no kidding.
I will not do that.
So next week, The Burbs. Be sure to check that out. And then also be sure to go to the Indiegogo. Help us get the funds for the film. We are getting there. We've raised over $40,000. We need more. So just go on there, donate what you can, because you're not donating, you're investing, because you will get this back. We got a lot of perks on there. And if you can't do that, share it. Share it to all your friends. Share it to all your enemies. I don't care who you share it to. Share it to everyone, so everyone can see the help us make Secret Admirer, because it's a lot of fun. Things are rolling along really well. The cast is excited, the crew's excited, and we're location scouted, and we're ready to shoot. So share that for sure. So next week, The Burbs. Until then, for Derek Lemaster and Lydia Judy, I'm Derek Lemaster too. For Derek Lemaster and Lydia Judy, I'm Jamie Hiles. Remember, if you're going to scream bloody movies.